Imagine that you are the director of a $250 million blockbuster movie. The world's finest actors, greatest screenwriters, and state-of-the-art technology and special effects are at your disposal. Every dollar you spend is a waste of money until you sit in this chair and say one word. What is that word?
Action.
Action. Ladies and gentlemen, your life is like a blockbuster movie. The question for you to think about, not just during my presentation, but through this entire day, who has been directing your movie? Is it you or someone else? Because you are in this meeting of entrepreneurs and legacy, and you may be in the middle of a transformation, the ideas that you will get today will help you get back in this chair if you have not been. The ideas that I'm going to share with you are not theoretical, by the way. They are ideas that I have experienced or learned, and I've incorporated into my own thinking. Where I think this will help you is that where I stood 20 months ago and where I am today is very different. 20 months ago, March 16, 2010, I was standing in a very empty apartment. And when I say empty, I want you to imagine an apartment with no furniture, no dishes, no curtains, nothing. That's empty. And as I was standing in this empty apartment, the voice of an old Jedi Master who visited me from time to time over the years popped into my head. He said, "You lost everything you have, Yeah, Master Yoda, you know the divorce wiped me out. Too bad. Ready to be a speaker now, are you?" For over 20 years, that voice had been coming back to me from time to time, trying to convince me to become a professional full-time speaker. Have you ever had a voice pop into your head telling you you should be doing this or that? Be a writer, be a teacher, be an Olympic athlete. I don't know what it is in your case. My voice kept telling me, be a speaker. Now fast forward to this morning. I'm getting in my car, driving over here, realizing I get to do something I love to do, which is present to people, share experiences, and hopefully change lives. Now how did I get from where I was 20 months ago, broke in every way, to today? How do you think that happened? You're allowed to participate.
You listen to Jedi Knight.
Jedi Master, yes. I acquired special skill. No, I learned, pardon?
You took action.
I took some action. I realized standing in that apartment, what have you got to lose, Mike? You've been wiped out. Go for it now. Now what I hope is none of you are in the same situation I was, where it's like you're completely wiped out. What I did in the following 20 months is I studied. I invested money I really didn't have in myself to learn strategies and techniques. And what we'll go through in the short time we have this morning is just the foundation of this process I call the action strategies to ignite passion into your dream. Now, if you will go into your kit, I believe in addressing your mistakes right up front. You will notice that on your packet that says Ignite Your Passion, Take Action, the name of the company, International Paper, appears. Clearly we're not an international paper. That's where I was yesterday. I pegged the wrong cover sheet. That doesn't change the rest of the material in here, but let's just cross out international paper because that's not where we are today. Now, we will not have time to get through everything in this packet. I'm going to pick the key elements of this program. But what the action strategy is actually a 6-step strategy or process to help you take your life in the direction you want. Where I would like to start is on page 2. The first step or first key to this strategy is acknowledge your greatest dream. I love the quote at the top. I've heard this for years. If money was not an issue, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? Brian Tracy, one of the greatest speakers that's ever lived. You've probably heard this before. But here's the question. Have you really thought about it? What is your inner Yoda telling you? What has it been telling you? And have you kept that dream to yourself, or have you shared it? Acknowledging your dream is a very big deal. Because what happened with me, the first time I ever heard Yoda was June 1st, 1988. I was sitting in a huge banquet facility with 350 other new financial advisors. And we were listening to a speaker named Jim Boren. I don't remember what Mr. Boren said that night, but I do remember at one point looking around the room, and all of us were sitting around our table, tears streaming down our faces. Because we were laughing so hard that we couldn't even breathe. You ever had one of those moments, you're crying, it's so funny, you can't breathe, you can't think, it's one of those moments you just cherish. And it was sitting in that moment that this voice popped into my head. It said, make people laugh, you love to do. Speaker, you should be. Okay, apparently I've had too much to drink. Yoga. And again the voice said, drunk you are not. Speaker, you should be. And what do you think I did with that voice? I was 25 years old, brand new in my business. I began to argue. Pardon?
You buried it.
I buried it. That's exactly it. But I'm glad you said that, Sean, because dreams never die. They get buried. We buried them. Life buries them. Well, I argued with the voice that night. I said, are you kidding? I could never do that. I'm 25 years old. I just started this. I've never spoken to you. I could never do that. And the voice just stopped. But then periodically over the years, the voice would come back. And it was always when I was listening to somebody speaking at the front of a room, they would say, speaker, you should be. And I always had the answer of why I couldn't. In fact, I developed a case of the Yabbits. Familiar with the Yabbits? Yep. Yeah, but he said I just started this job. Yeah, but the baby was just born. Yeah, but I got a mortgage. Yeah. And over 21 years, 9 months and 15 days, I became an expert in the Yabbits. But here's what I also noted. In looking back at that time, I realized something. Every time I argued with the voice, it became a little more painful. Because I knew in my heart it's what I wanted to do. So I finally acknowledged the dream 20 months ago and said, let's go for Rome. The great speaker Jim Rohn, not the sportscaster Jim Rohn, by the way, Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N, once said there are two pains in life, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline weighs ounces compared to regret, which weighs tons. Now, I'm thrilled to death to be standing before you today, but there's a part of me that regrets I didn't do this 20 years ago, because I can't imagine how many more lives I could have helped. So acknowledge your dream is number one. Do not bury it, as Sean said, because it will stay down there. Are you familiar with the name Otis Williams? Otis is a world champion speaker. He's from Cincinnati. He has one of the greatest lines I've ever heard about dreams. He said, the richest place in the world is the graveyard. There are books that were never written, songs never sung, ideas never shared because we were too afraid we buried our dreams and we took them with us. I don't want me or anyone in this room to take it with you. Leave it all out here. First step is acknowledge your dream. Second step, now that you've acknowledged, and by the way, when you acknowledge your dream, if you're not sitting in this chair, you're just taking the first step toward getting back in the chair by acknowledging the dream. Second step is create a new script for your life. When movies are created, when a screenwriter comes to a studio with an idea, is that script that he or she